How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is kind of impromptu, but I want to have a little bit of discussion with everybody today. I just want to kind of go through a couple of things if I can. So I'm going to wait for a few people to get in here, and then we're going to have us a little bit of a discussion. I just kind of want to have a bit of an impromptu discussion about some things that are kind of coming to my mind right now, because I'm getting a lot of different messages about a lot of different things, but the common theme is the same. And so because the common theme is the same, I think I better cover some things. So let's give it a couple of minutes. Let's let some people get in here, because this is kind of impromptu. This really wasn't planned, but I do have a little bit of time right now, so I want to go ahead and kind of get into some things that I think are very, 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 very important. So let's give it a little time here. Give it a little time. Let some people get in here, and then we're going to talk. How's everybody doing today? Everybody doing good? All right, so I'm assuming everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing great. That's wonderful. So let's have us a bit of a discussion, right? So first of all, I want to talk about how it is that Jay Morrison could have done this right. I want to talk about that, right? Because I think it's very important that we understand what he could have done to actually do this right. So, we all understand now that Jay Morrison did not have the experience that he purported to have. We know that now, right? So this is irrefutable at this point based on the numbers. Nobody can deny the fact that he doesn't know what he's doing. No one can deny the fact that a lot of the things that he purported to be true just simply are not, right? So nobody can deny that. That's reality. Now, in light of that, what could he have done to do this right? And I think this is what is most perplexing to me, because it was so simple. You could really have honestly not had any experience and still ran a successful real estate fund, because it's real estate, right? There are several real estate agents that deal specifically in investment grade property, right? Single family, multifamily, and commercial. There are several in every state. If you wanted to do single family residential homes and you wanted to use the assets to buy large amounts of single family residential homes and rent them out, the interesting thing about that is, in this economic environment, you could have got them for below market value, right? You definitely could have got them for below market value. A real estate agent that has the sufficient experience and knowledge for dealing with real estate types investments in the single family residential space could have guided you to a number of different properties that you could have acquired at below market value. And here's the interesting thing. They would have provided you with the CMAs, the comparative market analysis, right? They would have run all the numbers for you to show you why it's a good deal. All information that you could have saved and presented to the investors to show what the good deal looked like and why you made the investment. It all could have been addendums to your financial disclosures, and it would have been good. And more importantly, these assets would already be cash flowing, because that same realtor could have helped you get tenants into these properties so that they would cash flow for the benefit of the fund. And the reality of the situation is, all you had to do was simply lay out what your investment criteria is. Hey, listen, we can't invest in anything or take a loan beyond 70% or 80% or whatever. We can't be into a property more than 80% LTV versus value, right? Loan to value, right? Or purchase price to value. And that would have been a very easy thing to do for a competent real estate agent. You could have paid a competent real estate agent to go out there and do the work for you, right? They would have done all the work, all the analysis, brought you the properties. You could have just deployed the capital into those properties, and you would have had all the documentation, all the clarity. You would have been right within your investment policies and procedures, and you would have been able to generate cash flow for this fund. Very straightforward. If you wanted to buy commercial, the reality of the situation is it would have been very easy to buy commercial. Very, 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 very easy. All you had to do, honestly, was go to CBRE. CB Richard Ellis is one of the top, right? They're one of the top commercial real estate brokerage firms in the country. Sorry about that, guys. They have offices all over the country. You could have went to them. You could have told them, listen, we want to invest in commercial real estate. This is the number of assets we have under management, right? This is the amount of dollars we have under management. And, these are the types of investment criteria that we're looking for. Help us identify buildings that fit our investment criteria that are good for our portfolio so we can show performance to our investors. Listen, CBRE would have gone in, they would have found the properties, they would have done the due diligence, they would have provided the discounted cash flow analytics, all of that. And you would have had everything necessary to be able to simply show performance. These buildings would have already had rent rolls. They would have already had an occupancy rate. They would have already had a capitalization rate. You would have been able to do this literally with no experience. You wouldn't have had to do any marketing. You wouldn't have had to spend any marketing dollars. All you're doing is paying a commission to a real estate agent. The same commission that you're paying now. And that's reality. That's how easy this is to run a real estate fund with no experience. See, sometimes you have a great idea or you have a great thing you want to do, but you don't know how to execute. You can always bring people in that have execution ability and execution strategy because they have sufficient knowledge and experience to be able to get it done. But you first have to be willing to admit what you don't know. That's first. You have to first be willing to admit what it is that you don't know. You got to swallow some pride. I don't know everything. And I have no problem admitting that I don't know everything. And when I know that I don't know something really well, guess what? I go looking for people that do. I know that, for example, I don't know much about digital marketing. I understand the overall concept, but can I get into the minutia of digital marketing to be able to, digitally market a brand properly? No, I can't. No, I can't. Hell, I can't even draw a straight line, to be quite honest with you. But the fact of the matter is I know where my limitations are. And because I know what my limitations are, I'm able to be honest enough with myself first and with everyone that is getting involved with me to ensure that I'm bringing on qualified, competent people to help us achieve our overall objectives. So the people that I'm working with, different business partners, different business associates, are getting the things that they're supposed to be getting, that we are all successful together. That's how this works. It's very straightforward. It's not hard. Hell, right now, to be honest with you, I'm looking for a digital marketing person right now. Somebody that's got graphic skills, digital marketing skills, and, has the proper business structure to do business at the level that I like to do business, which was with clarity and transparency. I'm actually getting ready to post something on my story now. If anybody knows anybody that they can refer that does good business and is straight up and honest and willing to do some work and do some good graphics work and good digital marketing work, hey, listen, I'm all for bringing them on and paying them and compensating them to be able to help me do what it is I want to do. Because, boy, one thing about it, I don't know what the hell I'm doing around here. Y'all see my little infographics? They trash. I know they trash, but I'm trying. Y'all work with me. I'm looking for someone. So that's reality, right? Yeah, Fiverr takes too long. Like, I know about Fiverr. The turn time is too long. So, you know what I mean? So now let's leave that a second and let's turn into something else, right? So I just wanted to cover that part right there to give some understandings of how this could have gone right very, very easily. And the crazy thing is, if Jay Morrison had done it that way, he wouldn't really have to have done any work. He could have lowered his management fee, collected the management fee. He would have grown more assets simply by doing it that way. Because if you can show performance, other people will invest. All he had to do was show some performance, show some growth. Other people would have invested. He would have actually made more money long-term charging a 2% management fee and just performing as opposed to doing what he's doing now. Now, unfortunately, nobody trusts him. He's destroyed his reputation, which he didn't really have much of one anyway because of his past. But let's just leave that alone, right? So he destroyed his reputation. Nobody will ever do this with him again. And the reality of the situation is he's likely going to end up in prison. That's the facts. All because you tried to take a shortcut. And the reality is there's no shortcut in life. There's no shortcut. You earn your way to success, and it takes time. But the crazy thing is, if he would have just hired the right real estate agents, hired the right firms and paid them commission to come in and help him do this, he could have learned along the way. And nobody would have known that he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. In fact, he could have had a real estate agent come in on his investor calls and discuss some of the numbers. He could have had an accountant come in and discuss some of the numbers. They could have done a panel discussion and talked to the investors. And he would have had competent people to his right and to his left that could answer the tough questions that he not be able to answer. See, this is what happens when you're really about transparency and accountability. When you're really about trying to grow something and you're not just trying to pilfer. You think about ways to compensate for what you lack. You see what I'm saying? This stuff is very straightforward. It's par for the course. You think every person that started a business, you think Mark Zuckerberg knew anything about business structure and business development when he first launched Facebook? No. But what did he do? He hired qualified, competent people around him to help him get where it is he wanted to be. He understood that he was good at tech and good at strategizing, good at putting forth a good product and an idea, but he didn't know how to bring that product to market the right way. He didn't know the corporate structure that he would need to have to be able to scale that company to where it is now. Same thing with Google. Same thing with Microsoft. Same thing with any large company that you see today. They didn't start off that way. And a lot of these people didn't have that business skill to be able to do that. Even if they did go to college. That doesn't necessarily mean you have the skills to be able to grow and scale a business. Why? Because growing and scaling a business is something you learn over time. You learn from trial and error. You got to make some mistakes. Google's been sued. Facebook's been sued. Microsoft's been sued. All these Fortune 500 companies have been sued and had to settle and pay money. They had to learn. There are no shortcuts in life. Success is not, you cannot cut your way to success. You earn your way to success. You fail your way to success. You learn lessons from these failures that you apply and keep moving forward. And the more lessons you learn, the more application you put behind these lessons that you learn, the better you are in a position to succeed at a later time. And as you continue to grow experience, as you continue to learn lessons, as you continue to apply these lessons, right, you become more and more and more and more successful. Business sucks truly till it doesn't. It sucks. It don't work till it does. And oftentimes, by the time it's working, you don't even realize it's working. Because you too busy worried about the next failure coming. Because you're so used to it. So you already thinking long term about what could potentially be the next failures and what contingency plans you can put in place to not destroy the entire business when you fuck up again. Because you know you will fuck up again. I've been doing what I do for over 14 years now. You think I know everything? Let me tell you, I don't. I don't. And I guarantee you, along my business journeys, along the things that I do, I'm going to fuck up some more along the way too. Because that's what it is. I'm not going to fuck up to a point to where I'm going to destroy my entire, business models or business plans or anything like that. The reality of the situation is I'm most definitely going to fuck up some more. I'm going to make some mistakes along the way. And I'm going to learn some lessons, and I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to be able to be better for it. The business is going to be able to be better for it, right? And the people that are trusting me, who are either employees or vendors or business partners or lenders, right, are going to have confidence in the fact, right, that I took the time to learn and pivot and admit and be honest about what I don't know and be smart enough to hire competent people around me. See, the problem with people that don't have any experience is they want to wear all the hats. They want to be the all-knowing, all-everything micromanager of a business, not understanding that as the owner of a business, your job is to be macro. You're at point A, I want to get to point Z. I need to hire some people to help me get from point A to point Z. And you don't have to have all the answers. See, the biggest problem with people that think they know everything is they think they got to have all the answers. They're not willing to take advice from anyone else. And I've made that mistake. I made that mistake early in my career. I failed my first company because of that specific fact right there. I didn't want to take advice from anybody. I felt like it was my way or the highway. I'm going to do what I want to do, and if you ain't with it, you can get the hell on and leave me alone because it's my way or the highway. And guess what? Bruh, we only lasted a year and we was out of business. See, the fact of the matter is, this stuff I'm telling y'all, like I ain't read this stuff nowhere. This is stuff hard fought experience that I'm telling y'all about, that I done been through, that I know for a fact. You know what I mean? So, what I've learned over 14 years now, right, is this. I will bring in qualified, competent, smart people that have industry experience at whatever it is that I'm trying to do. I will come up with an overall strategy, and then I will sit down with everybody and I will take everybody's feedback, because just because I came up with an idea doesn't mean that I have the right execution to get there. I have the right strategy for execution. But if I lean on the subject matter experts that I've brought in around me in the requisite fields and spaces that I need, collectively, we can come up with the best execution method that is going to allow everyone to be profitable. And that's what it takes to be a successful business owner. That's what it takes. You have to humble down and understand that it is not your way or the highway. Together, each achieves more. Team. You will not always have the right answer. Do you know how many times I've sat down with my team and I've had a great idea and somebody's come up with something better and I've been like, we going that way because it makes more sense than what I'm talking about. Yeah, my idea is good, but that idea is great. And I'm not settling for good. I want greatness in everything that I do. And that greatness doesn't necessarily have to come from me, because you know what is going to be great? The dollars that flow into the company's bank account, that flow into my bank account, because I was humble enough, smart enough, wise enough, experienced enough to understand that greatness doesn't always have to come from me. It can come from someone on my team. And that is reality. That is how business truly works. And if you don't get that, you're never going to make it. You'll never be successful. You will fail every time because you will isolate yourself. You will put yourself on an island all by yourself. And just because you hire competent people around you, see, people that are competent, that have a track record, that have experience, that have a reputation, they want to be valued. And so the fact of the matter is, right, if you bring them around and they bring you opinions and great ideas and you do not listen to them, they will leave you because they don't have time to waste. There are 3 things that everybody wants in this life, regardless of whether you are a business professional, in your personal life. People want 3 things in this life. They want to be valued, they want to feel special, and they want to be made to feel important. Which means that you have to hear the things they say, weigh the things they say, and give them credit where credit is due when they help you succeed. Because at the end of the day, if the team succeeds, I succeed. Period. We are all tied together. Our interests are aligned, because if the company does well, they can get payroll checks. There can be bonuses. There can be dollar matching and profit sharing in the 401k. If the business is not succeeding, none of that is possible. And if I'm able to pay them what they weigh, if I can pay them like they weigh, that means that I've made quite a bit of money. Everybody's happy. I learned a long time ago that a well-paid employee is a happy employee, is a productive employee, is an employee that makes more money for you. That's how it works. Business owners that always try to skimp on pay never get top tier talent. You pay top tier talent what they weigh because they understand their value. They understand what they bring to the table, right? And so here's the exciting thing about talent. When you bring talented, experienced, competent people with a solid reputation, do you know what else they bring with them? They don't just bring all of that. They bring their Rolodex of contacts too. So now you're getting to tap their Rolodex of contacts, their Rolodex of experienced people that they know that can help you propel your business further. Help you scale your business faster. I posted it earlier and I'm going to say it in here. Money does not make the world go around. People do. Relationships make the world go around. Money in business is a product of quality relationships. So, if you really want to know what the quality of your relationships in business are, all you got to do is do one thing. Open that business bank account and open that personal bank account. And if the numbers that you see are not the numbers that you want to see, then you need to reassess the types of people that you are working with professionally. Because clearly, they are not competent enough to help you get where you want to be. And you got to do a gut check and ask yourself, am I ready? Am I prepared? Am I listening? Am I doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing? And that takes a real hard, honest look in the mirror, and that ain't always easy. And that's a fact. You got to be willing to take constructive criticism as a business owner. Just because you own the business doesn't really mean much of anything. Because it's for $250, all of y'all can go right now and go incorporate a business. And then you can spend another, $50 or so and get you some business cards, right? And you can put CEO of XYZ company on your business cards. And you can go around and tell people you're a business owner now. You own a business. You the boss. You the CEO. Anybody can start a business. Very few people can start and build a profitable business. Because if you're the CEO of a business that ain't making no money, you're the CEO of nothing. At the end of the day, when you start a business, it is for one purpose and one purpose only, to generate revenue. If your business ain't doing nothing but taking losses, you are not in business. You are in practice. You are in wasting time. That is how this works. It's very, very straightforward. When people tell me they're business owners, yeah, I own a business. My business do da. You know the first question I ask them, what was your annual revenue last year? Because that's what matters to me. And beyond your annual revenue, I want to know what your net cash flow was. How much cash flow actually stayed in the business? What is your shareholder value? What is your member value? That's it. Because if you don't have net operating cash flow, what are your operating margins? What's your ROI? Because if you don't have answers to those questions, you're not in business. You're in practice. And this is reality. And I think this is the thing that people just cannot digest. My whole purpose in doing this stuff is to teach y'all how to be in business and not be in practice. That's it. Like, it's really straightforward. Men lie, women lie, but the numbers don't lie. And see, the thing about me is, I'm not the dude you can send a pro forma set of financials to and say, these are our numbers. No, baby, I need an accountant to go through and certify those numbers. I need those certified. I need you to certify that balance sheet from a third-party accountant that's in reputable standing. I need that. Because anybody can put numbers on a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Anybody can put numbers on a piece of paper and make it look good. But if that shit ain't certified by a third-party accountant, That shit don't mean nothing to me. You wasting my time. You talking. Because now what I'm going to do, see, and that's the other thing. If you send me unaudited financials, guess what I have to do? It's called a balance sheet reconciliation. It's because your numbers are unaudited. They haven't been looked at and certified. You haven't been issued an unqualified opinion from a qualified accounting firm or CPA firm. So in light of that, right, I can't just take your balance sheet, your income statement, and your statement of cash flows at face value. I now have to do a balance sheet reconciliation. And what is a balance sheet reconciliation? That means that if you send me 2019's balance sheet, cash flow statement, and income statement, you better send me all the bank statements for all of the business bank accounts for 2019. Because I need to reconcile what's on that balance sheet, that income statement, and that statement of cash flows with the flow of money coming through your bank accounts. And if the numbers don't add up, your balance sheet is bullshit. Period. And if you're unwilling with unaudited financials to release the bank statements, baby, we ain't got nothing to talk about. I know you're lying. You see how easy it is to get to the bottom line facts of a situation? It's easy. It's so terribly easy. And that's reality, right? So I wanted to talk about those couple of things with y'all. The next thing I want to talk about is, just briefly here, I want to talk about scammers. The scammer mentality. How scammers think, how scammers work, and some of the things that you can look out for that are clearly red flags when you're dealing with scammers. First of all, let's understand that when you consider any type of investment and somebody's offering you a rate of return, you have to consider what is the industry average, right? So you got to understand that. I think that's very important to understand the industry average, right? So let's walk into that. Let's talk about that a little bit, right? So first of all, right, a U.S. government treasury, a 10-year U.S. government treasury, a bond, a 10-year U.S. government bond, right, is the benchmark rate. What that means is that is the base level rate that everything is set on from an interest rate standpoint. We look at, sometimes we look at the London Interbank Offering Rate and the Cost of Funds Index, but that's institutional and has really nothing to do with this conversation. We look at the benchmark rate, right? So the benchmark rate right now, not have to look, but it's probably somewhere around 2.5%, somewhere around in there, 3%, right? Okay, so we know that's the benchmark rate, right? So if someone is asking you to borrow money and they're telling you they're going to pay you a 20 or 30% return per year, that's a hell of a lot higher than the benchmark rate. So after we look at the benchmark rate, then we want to understand what the prime rate is. The prime rate is the baseline rate that banks, lenders, lend money to the retail community, to consumers. So we want to understand what the prime rate is, right? So right now, the prime rate's somewhere in the 3s, right? So, okay. Now, so if you're telling me you're going to offer me 30% a year when a lender's prime rate is only like 3.5, and based on my FICO score, if I went into the bank, I might get a 6 or 7, right? Come on now, make it make sense. That doesn't make sense. But then let's look at this too. Beyond the prime rate, let's look at the markets. What is the average index fund yielding? 10 to 12% over a 10-year period of time on average? So what you're telling me is you're tripling the interest rate or the rate of return provided by institutions and money managers who have an extensive track record, have extensive credibility, have a big name behind them, and who manage billions upon trillions of dollars. And you're telling me that you can offer me something better than what they can based on your product that's never been heard of? Okay. So then, if your product is that good that you can offer a 30% per annum rate of return, then what I need to, per annum, by the way, is per year, is the same thing. So if you can offer me a 30% per annum rate of return to borrow my money, why are you talking to me? Why aren't you talking to the bank? Because if your product is that good, chances are you're going to be able to generate some sort of receivable. And if that's the case, you should be able to borrow against the strength of your receivables. So why do you need my money if your product is that good? If your service is that good? Make it make sense. It doesn't. This is just reality, right? So these are the types of things you got to look at. Now, I want to explain how a promissory note works, right? First of all, what is a note? A note under the Security and Exchange Commission, whether it be promissory note, asset-backed note, security, whatever, it's considered a security under the Security and Exchange Commission's rules and regulations. A lot of scammers want to say, I'm going to issue you a promissory note, right? I'm going to issue you a promissory note. And if you sign this promissory note, then it guarantees that I'm going to give you money back in this time. Well, first and foremost, a promissory note is exactly that. That is the security instrument. But you can't execute a promissory note without a lending agreement in place. Because the lending agreement is the agreement, right, that governs the interest rate terms and conditions for how this money will be operated with, what will be done with it, and how it will come back to you. The underlying note or instrument or security is nothing but the proof that can be filed via a UCC-1 at the state or county level to let other people know that you owe them money. That's it. Sorry about that, guys. For some reason, it just paused. But it is a security instrument. And what that means is that without the underlying note, without the actual lending agreement, that security instrument is invalid. Moreover, because it is a security under the rules and regulations of the Security and Exchange Commission, it is governed. Some security instruments cannot be issued to retail investors. Some of security instruments like promissory notes can only be done with qualified institutional borrowers and accredited investors. So you have to be very, very understanding of that. So a lot of promissory notes that are issued by these scammers are fraudulent, no good, invalid, have no value. Not only that, the promissory note itself is unsecured. If this is a startup business, or if this is somebody making a promise to you for some sort of real estate investment or business model or whatever, you never issue an unsecured or accept an unsecured promissory note on a startup venture or on anything real estate related, because the fact of the matter is, if you're promising me this return, right, and it's based on, let's say, real estate, for example, right? Well, you should have a sufficient enough track record to be able to allow me to lean against your real estate portfolio to ensure that in the event that you do not pay me my money, I can take you through foreclosure and collect my money through a foreclosure proceeding by filing a default and a foreclosure proceeding in the state that you're in to be able to collect my money. If a person isn't willing to play collateral to borrow your money, why would you lend it to them? Because scammers or people that are coming to mom and pop people to borrow money, these are small startup businesses, highly risky investments. And so for that level of risk, I need collateral. See, in the lending world, in the financial world, and we're going to talk about this when we talk about how lending works from a business standpoint. We'll get there in our Sunday discussions. But lenders generally want to see 1.5 to 2 times the interest payment that you're going to pay them in net cash flow on your balance sheet. And if you don't have that, generally, they don't want to lend to you. Moreover, right, a lender will generally file a UCC1 against the business, and they will make you sign as a personal guarantor if you are a small business, to let everyone know that you owe them money, so it is less likely that you will be able to go in and borrow money from another institution without satisfying their debt obligation. You see how they're protecting their interest. So you have to think like an institution when it comes to your own money. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of scammers like to use what's called affinity fraud. What is affinity fraud? So they play on your emotions, right? So, you know, they may come to you and say, you know, God sent me to you to talk to you, you know, because they know you're a Christian and they know you love the Lord and you really into the church. So everything they talking to you about is the church, right? They want to pray with you. They want to have Bible studies with you. They want to do all these great, wonderful things with you, right? To allow you to feel comfortable with them, right? So I just got a live request from Ambitious Girl 510. So I'm going to take a break and pull her in. I'm not sure what she's going to say, so I want you to know that I'm not stamping or certifying anything that she says at this point until I hear it. But I'm going to bring her into the live, and then we're going to hear from her as well, and then we're going to go from there, okay? Give me a second, guys.
Hey, Fredrick, how you doing?
Ambitious Girl, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well, pretty well. So,
Okay. What you
I,
want to tell them?
I want to say I found you based off of everything that was going on with Jay Morrison. And I just wanted to say that
Okay.
everything you're saying is legit. Okay, I'm a CPA. Okay. And so prior to me becoming and getting my CPA license, I've been studying and everything. And I had ran across Jay Morrison a couple years ago when he was trying to put this fund out to the public. And when I asked him certain questions about the SEC documents, you know, operation agreement, I actually went back out and I started reading it. When I started reading it, I was like, hold on. It was so many questions. Everything that he's doing right now came into fruition. Like everything he's doing right now, he said he was going to do in the operation agreement. And so when I seen that, I made sure that I made aware to a lot of people that are following me, a lot of my friends. I had a couple people that actually invested prior to me finding out what was going on. But I just had to make sure to let my followers know that if you're going to invest with this guy, you need to read what is on the paperwork. Everything that he is trying to tell you is something totally different than what is written down on paper. And as you know,
Absolutely.
being a business-minded or having some type of education, some type of degree, you know that you have to look further than what meets the eye. And so all I want to say is that everything you're doing, I appreciate everything you're doing. You're actually able to put everything, like I want to be able to put things out like I've done within my followers, but I don't have I don't have no YouTube following. I don't have that extra stuff to actually get that message out there. And I appreciate everything you're doing because you are exposing a whole lot of stuff and you're going into detail. You're going into the paperwork. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us, they might be going off of the dude's character, but you're going into the paperwork and the numbers don't lie at the end of the day.
That's a fact. Now, I want you to know that, when I started this off, I had like 400 followers. I think I got about 1,400 now, right? If you have knowledge and you have experience, share it with the community, because the reality of the situation is if you know what you're talking about, people will listen to you. Like people will listen, right? I I just started off brief. I actually got on a live with Tony the Closer and had a brief discussion. And, I realized that people actually wanted to hear what I had to say. So I just kept talking. And, I really want to help. So, yeah, I'm not charging anything. I'm never going to drop any courses or drop any cash apps. I'm not doing that for this. Like, I'm in a position to where I don't need the money. So
Yeah.
I'm good, so it's just to help the community. But I really appreciate the feedback. Thank you for your support. And I really, really, really appreciate that. So, thank you. Thank you so much.
Problem. Thank you for adding me. And thank you for
no problem.
Alrighty.
No problem. Have a good day.
All right.
Okay, hey guys. So I'm back. So with that in mind, right, I want to thank you again so much for that. Like I really appreciate the kind words and the kind sentiment. So let's get back to these scammers now though, right? So a lot of them get into affinity fraud, right? So they want to create a common interest and a common bond with you, right? Because they understand that to be able to get out of money, to be able to get money out of you, right, then they have to establish trust. And the easiest way to establish trust is with ethnicity and religion. Ethnicity, religion, race, these things are the fastest way to create a bond with someone. And to create a bond with someone is to begin the process of building trust. So a lot of scammers start with affinity fraud. And you got to be careful, because I know a lot of you guys are Christians. I'm personally Muslim, right? But a lot of you are Christians. You got to be careful. Just because you're in a church and just because you love your pastor and just because your pastor is doing a great job, I've seen a lot of pastors that will take a fee from a speaker, go on stage, endorse that speaker to his congregation because he's getting paid from that speaker, and now that speaker has access to his entire congregation. Now, because the congregation follows the pastor and trusts the pastor, they look at it like if the pastor is stamping him, then it must be good. This is a common thing that happens in the Black community. A lot of scammers go into the churches to be able to begin to target their victims. You have to be careful. You have to look at everything. A lot of these scammers now, what they're going to do is, because Black Lives Matter is a big movement, and because of everything that's happening, you're going to hear a lot of these scammers talking things like, oh, we got to stand up for the community. We got to, it's us against them. That divisionary talk, right? Oh, trust me because of this. Trust me because of that. Blah, 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 blah. We got our Black Lives Matter and this, that, and the third. That's cool and great and wonderful, right up until you start asking me for money. See, and that's what they do. You got to be careful of people that are trying really hard to ingratiate themselves into what you do and who you are. People that all of a sudden you didn't know before, but they're becoming your biggest cheerleader. And they're, it seems like they're always agreeing with everything you say. And it seems like, they're all of a sudden always at the different functions and events that you're at. They talk about the same things you talk about, but they were never around before, right? So you have to understand that from a psychological standpoint, right? And you learn this when you learn about how to interrogate people. What you learn is, right, that sometimes what you can do is a person will say something to you, you will remember it, and then later on, you come back and say that exact same thing in a different way, right? But it registers in the back of their mind. It comes forward and it's processed in their frontal lobe, right? And then what ends up happening is it feels like you guys are the same, like you are kindred spirits, like this person has been put in your path for a reason, right? But really all they're doing is recycling the things you've said at specific points in time to make it seem as though that they have been that person that's been sent by God for you, or it's kismet, or it's fortuitous, and all of these things. Be very careful. See, your number one defense is your mind. Because once you get into a person's mind, right? Once you break that defense down, you can get into their heart. From the mind goes into the heart, and from the heart goes into the spirit. And once you can control a person's mind, the truth of the situation is you can control everything that they are and everything that they will become. This is why I take the time with you guys, because I need you to understand, right, the importance of protecting your mind with knowledge and education. That is the wall. That is the guard that protects your mind. Because when you have sufficient knowledge and education, you are able to protect yourself from the nonsense. That's reality. A lot of people are running around with little white picket fences around their minds. Low rising white picket fences that people can easily jump over and begin to work in your mind. That is your number one defense. Protect your mind so you can protect your heart, so you can protect your spirit. It's very, 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 very important. Because for some people, losing money is so devastating that it breaks their heart and it begins to break their spirit. That's where depression comes in at. But if you protect your mind, you can protect these things from happening to you. Affinity fraud is real. Be very careful of people who are going out of their way to ingratiate themselves with you. Always ask, what is it that you want? What do you want? I look at everybody with a side eye. You are guilty until I find otherwise. I verify everything. Everything coming out of your mouth, I'm checking. And just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't know. Sometimes I'll let you go. I'll give you the rope to jump yourself right off a cliff. And as soon as you do, I'm going to pull as hard as I can and snap your fucking neck. That's how I roll. And if you operate that way, you will be able to protect yourself so easily. So easily. The other thing that you got to be careful of with these scammers, they go out of their way. And sometimes they're not even trying to scam, more as they trying to hustle you and get something out of you for nothing, for a little bit of work. That's what these fake ass, damn, pseudo, self-proclaimed financial gurus are doing around here. They're getting money out of people for little or nothing. Because what they do is everybody, these scammers and these self-proclaimed financial gurus, they understand one thing, that everybody that they're talking to, their target audience, wants to live a prosperous, financially free life. So what do? They go out of their way to project that lifestyle via images, pictures, lives, things like that. Cars they have, bank account statements. So that way you will want to follow them because you hope that they will be your bridge to the life that you want to live, because they are projecting an image of success that you want to have for yourself. And this is why you can't be thirsty. You got to be patient, right? Time tells on everything and everyone. All you have to do is let enough time pass, right? And see what ends up happening is, because we're so in a rush for that success, so in a rush for that prosperity. We want it now. We don't want to, we want a get rich quick scheme. We want a shortcut. We want a quick answer, right? That we fall prey, we fall victim to these types of mechanisms that they're employing. So now You see them, you follow them, you see their lifestyle, you want it, and now they hit you with a course. Yo, I can teach you everything you want to know if you just pay me $1,000 a month, right? $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month. Now you shelling out money that you don't really have, right? Hoping for the best. And oftentimes when you calculate, right? When you calculate what you've paid over what you've made, oftentimes you've made less than what you spent. Or you might have made just nothing at all. Or the money is inconsistent. Or the money is so small you might have made some and it's cool, but the taxes are eating you up. So really in all, because you paying in this monthly fee, right, it's not really reflective in the net return. The ROI is really, really low, right? And this is reality. This happens all the time in our community. This is why I am definitely finna raise the bar, because I'm finna give a whole bunch of shit away for free. Facts. When I'm done with this situation, bruh, like after this Sunday, you will be able to fix your credit yourself. If you silly enough to pay somebody, you just lazy. You're just lazy at that point. And you deserve what you get because I gave it to you for free. But for everybody else, the fact of the matter is, yo, you're not going to have to pay a credit repair specialist. You better do it for yourself. So these are the things that I want you guys to understand, some of the basic mentality of these scammers. It's always high interest rates. It's always advance fees. Pay me now, and then I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for you later, right? It's always wrapped up in a promissory note. They're always trying to ingratiate themselves with you or project a lifestyle and an image at you that would encourage you to want to follow them, to give them money. Understand that fame and fortune are rarely synonymous. Fame and fortune are rarely synonymous. And people that are going out of their way to show you what they have and project a lifestyle to you oftentimes are not living in real life what they claim to be living. And that's a fact. These self-styled financial gurus, business coaches, self-styled real estate experts, let's dig into their backgrounds. I bet you find that they're leasing their car, they don't own a home, they got bad credit, right? A lot of them are like that. They live in paycheck to paycheck. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. One paycheck away from disaster. Let them not be able to convince somebody to pay them for their courses for a couple of months and see if they're not facing an eviction. Let's keep it real here. But they projecting this image. Why? Because most of the money that the people are paying them, they putting it right back into continuing to project this image to get more people to give them money. It's almost like a legal Ponzi scheme when you really look at it. Don't be a sucker. Don't fall prey. Don't fall victim to this stuff. Because a lot of what they're telling you, you can get for yourself. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. And I'm going to point you to all these different places where you can read it and get it. Like, it's easy. Yeah, some of the stuff I'm going to cover that I'm going to get really in-depth in, you may not be able to find that, so easily, right? Because it's experience. But at the end of the day, bro, like, you're going to get it for free. Stop paying these people. And the crazy thing is, here's the crazy thing. Not only am I talking to you every Sunday, but look, what's today, Wednesday? I'm on live now talking to y'all, giving y'all more game for free. Not only that, I tell y'all at the end of all of my videos, you got a question? DM me. I may not be able to get back right away because sometimes I'm really, really busy, but I am going to get back. And people who have talked to me in my DMs can tell you I'm pretty responsive. So it ain't like there's no excuse. I am removing all excuses. If you choose to pay these fake ass gurus for these bullshit ass courses, that's on you. You the fool at that point. Only a fool does the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. And only a fool walks into a predictable situation unprepared. That is reality. I'm here for y'all. I ain't asking y'all for nothing. The only thing I ask y'all for is to pay it forward. Tell everybody you know. Like, subscribe, share. That's it. Like, subscribe, share. That's all I ask you to do. I'll ask y'all for nothing else. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be reaching out. If somebody trying to get some money out of you, yo, hit me in the DM. Hit me in the DM. That's all you got to do. Yo, this person, you know, I'm trying to do this and I'm thinking about taking this course. What you think about this? If it's something I know I'm going to cover, yo, don't waste your time. I'm about to cover that for free. Don't worry about it. I'll cover that for free. In fact, if enough people are asking me about the same thing, I will take a detour on my regularly scheduled courses and just do one discussion or two discussions or three discussions specifically on that one thing for free, just to cover it for everybody. I don't know if y'all there was a video I did. Some of y'all might have seen it. Some of y'all might not have. I can't remember if I saved that one or not. But I was having a discussion and somebody was talking about Airbnb and doing Airbnb and how, you know, there was this person that was trying to pay for Airbnb or get them to pay for courses for Airbnb. Let me tell you, I literally stopped what I was talking about and broke down Airbnb immediately. Immediately. Exactly how it works, exactly how you can get into it, exactly what you need to be considering for free. And at the end, I was like, there you go. Now you got everything you need to know for free. Go ahead. Run free. Now you ain't got to pay nobody. It's over with. Done. That's how this works. So all these little self-styled gurus, like these self-proclaimed gurus, to me, they like one or two steps away from a scammer themselves. In my opinion. You like one or two steps away, bruh. Honestly. Because you peddling subpar information for exorbitant ass fees. And ain't nothing right about that. That is scam advantage in an illegal manner, right? But a flim-flam artist or one of these self-styled gurus, they just taking advantage in a legal manner. Most of them going right to Google, reading some shit, or done read one or two books or one or two articles and coming back and peddling it as they own. One thing you'll learn about me, and I just did it in my last course, I covered a lot of things on credit. And then I told you, most of what I'm talking about here, you can read directly at myfico.com. How many people were in my class and can remember when I said that? Reality of the situation is this. If I'm citing another source, I'm going to tell you I'm citing another source and where that source is so you can go read it for yourself. I'm not hiding nothing. I'm not passing out no information as my own that I'm not giving you directly. Anyway, y'all, listen, check this out. I got about 23 seconds, running out of time.